G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Bonsai Works. I have a Juniper procumbens here that belongs to one of our club members. I want to have a go at this tree as it actually highlights one of the more difficult things with bonsai, especially when you're trying to style a tree, is when you have a tree with so many different fronts and options that you can have as a different front. You know, a lot of the time you can pretty much notice, yep, that's the front, easy, start styling. But this tree is a really interesting case where it's got lots of good fronts, lots of good options, very different. It's almost going to be, this ends up being what's pretty much about personal taste, what your personal taste is in how a tree should look. Yes, work with the good points. Yes, make sure you hide the bad points, all that kind of stuff. Look for the good parts of the tree, yes. But this tree has lots of good things, lots of good things. Not so many negatives, but lots of good positives. And it's really about personal taste on when styling trees like this. So I'm going to show you a few options with this tree and see what you guys think. But I have an idea, but I want to explain to you the process when you're stuck for trying to pick a front and what I do, what I tend to do. Okay, let's go through those process. So what I'm going to try and do is give you a point of view of me trying to find a new position for this tree. So what has it got at the moment? It's got this trunk here, it's got a bit of a straight bit coming out, then a bit big of a turn, then a huge gin that crosses back over the trunk like that. Very horizontal. I don't like horizontal, I don't like vertical. So I like this tree, it's got lots of movement, so we want to keep that lots of movement. So first things first, you want to eliminate this horizontal in some way. Okay, now the rest of the tree I'll show you. It has a backish branch in here. Let's have a look if you can see that. Back branch in there. And then has this really cool twisted branch that pretty much is only one branch and it creates a whole tree. Pretty much just this whole thing is just one branch. So for me, ultimately, I want to create a small tree, smaller than this probably, smaller, reduced down. But we need to do something about this, eliminate this. So there's a couple options. Now, I'm just going to swap this out, because I like to use a plastic pot like that where I can change the angle. Now, one option was I was thinking about doing that, having this as a long branch going downwards. That's one good option. The tree moves up like that and then has a dead branch somewhere down that way. That's one option. Now, the only issue with this is probably finding a good pot for it, because you just have to be careful about this hitting the pot. That's about it. But other than that, it's pretty nice. Yeah, we can twist this up, create a little tree into here. Interesting, have a nice branch out there. Good option, really good option. We can go totally the other way and have that branch upwards. This has got a beautiful movement. Again, beautiful movement this way, then back this way and up. It doesn't have any verticals or horizontals. They're slightly under, slightly above, which is really good. Again, wire it, create a nice little tree, and there you go. That branch can be onto the side. Now, some other options. Let's turn it all the way around the other way. I was having a look and there's another option maybe in here somewhere. Let me find it. Probably somewhere in there for you guys to have a look at. Not too horizontal. The trunk isn't too bad. Goes upwards and around and comes back, which is nice. Gives a nice flow. Then we can always put this in here and create a small tree again. Pretty good too. So these are really three really good options. I'm actually stuck. I really am. I don't know which one's the best option really. I'm going to have to just really figure out myself what I'm going to like or what I don't like. But one thing I do know with this tree is I want to create a small tree. Okay. So regardless which way I go, it's got to be a small compact tree. I really am going to just use this one branch that is going up and around and twisted up. The reason I want to use that is it has all the movement, has all the interest, just like all this part. This has lots of movement, lots of interest. And this branch I can actually compact down and small and reduce, and we can figure out what's the best looking tree from that. So what I need to do is eliminate things that I'm not going to keep. So there's this weak branch in here that I'm just going to eliminate. I haven't picked this as the front. I just put it. Let's start with this one. I did like this initially, but I want to see what it looks like after a while. So a bit more here, but let's eliminate the negatives first, which are the branches I don't want to keep. I will gin them because the rest of the tree has got lots of gin. So that's going to be ginned off. Now the big one is the back branch. Now people will think, oh, that's got a back branch, it's great, but it's very straight and it will never really blend into the design well. This is the only branch I'll need for the whole tree. So I hope that's the reason why I'm getting rid of it. There is a lot of foliage on there, but it makes the tree too big. So again, I'm going to make a gin. Now this tree, what I'll do is I had some comments about my juniper maintenance videos that you couldn't really see close up of how I was cutting the branches, not pinching. So I'll try and do some close-ups of that work when I get to it. So now we've got really totally different tree to look at. It's got one branch that we can do just about anything with, bend it, twist it down, make it really look small, tight little tree with big gin, lots of work. A lot of this foliage will have to go as well, get it reduced, but it will look really quite dynamic. So I'm just going to gin off these branches. So they've been ginned off, that's the next step. Now it's a matter of trying to style this tree, and trying to come up with a design. What branches are we going to keep? Are we going to keep everything? What's going to work, what isn't? But first what I want to do is actually get some heavy wire on this branch so that I can start to manipulate it and put it in position. That's really it, just getting big, heavy. I'll probably use almost the same thickness diameter as the branch because I want to really create some real twists and bends without having to worry about snapping the branch or cracking the branch. I want it to stay in position. So I'm just going to wire this one and we'll come back and have a look. So you can see I've applied the wire. I probably used about 5mm on this one. Now I've left it in this angle thinking maybe I'll use this as the front, but I'm not 100% sure. But what I have to do no matter what is compact the tree. I can then tweak it to whichever angle I want later on, but I really need to compact it so you can see how much there is there going up. Now I am going to try and go back as much as I can. Come back around as low as I can go. So I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way. Hang on. Just probably go. So I've got the lowest part done. Now I want to try and bring the apex back around a little bit so I can create something at the top later on. So twist it right around. So pretty much can't see anything now. Just looks like a little bush. But I've been able to really compact that. Let's have a look on this side. Maybe you can see a bit better on this side. Really compact it right down, almost down to horizontal. Then back around, then brought this back up into the kind of the apex where we end up doing some sort of apex. Way too much foliage to look at. Now I'll go through and start cleaning out some of this foliage. It's just, there's too much of it. So we'll just start to clean up underneath all the branches. I won't remove anything until I'm sure what I'm going to create. But I need to thin these branches out. Regardless, they're going to have some sort of, even if I go this way, they're going to have some sort of padding this down like this. So anything, I'll just pretend I'm wiring them down and clean them up for now before I do any wiring. Let's have a look at this side as well. This could be a nice tree too here, possibly as well. Interesting. I mean, they're all different nice shapes and angles. But yeah, let me start cleaning the foliage just by working through the branches. I'll just clean up underneath and start to, I pluck underneath, I just pull the whole branch off if it's going downwards. And then let's have a look, hopefully we can see a bit closer, this time around, never pluck the foliage with your fingers on the top. You come back and I'll try and make sure I can zoom in. Try and make sure you come back to this part where there's a little bit of a stem. Now the thing is, that stem browns off, not the tips. The tips stay green and healthy, and then the little stem bit browns off. Okay, so there's obviously when bonsai came to Australia, probably lost in translation a little bit on what meant by plucking rather than actually trimming. So that's the difference, and now you start to see the pads starting to form already. But we go through all the branches and do that, reduce a little bit, but cutting out the stem, plucking anything going downwards, plucking anything that's weak as well. We're not really going to keep it. There's so much healthy foliage. Clean up the branches. I don't even know if I'm going to keep them all, but let's give ourselves the best opportunity. Okay. So I cleaned up one branch that if we wire, might look all right if it sits up like that. So we'll just go through the whole tree and do that. So I thinned out the foliage quite extensively by doing that trimming. Cleaned out any crotch growth, anything going downwards, etc. Now I really am kind of stuck because there's now I'm kind of gone to two options. I do like this tree as the original front that I had chosen because the gin's on this side and it goes maybe a bit to that way. There's no right angles. Everything's on some sort of angle that's not perpendicular or vertical. Create a nice little tree in there. Or I like the other side as well. So this is a nice tree, not on that angle. Probably have to come in a little bit like that. Not sure how it comes up in the camera, but there's a nice tree in there too. I probably was. I didn't want to give myself, keep myself. I wanted to give myself all options, so I kept all options open until I slowly eliminated them. But I think this is probably. So I'm going to try and wire this up. And we'll see what it actually comes up with, if I'm happy with the shape or not. So I'm going to go away and wire this tree now. So I think here's where the tree will finally end up. I like this angle for it. It's not too bad. It's got just slightly up, slightly not that, bit that way. That's all going, no real exact straight lines. This foliage hides a little bit of this gin, which is good, and lets the little bit stick out at the back. So this is kind of going towards the back, and we'll give you a little, once you have a look on side on, you might be able to see it. So it wasn't too bad from this side as well, but definitely the other side is a much better tree. So how does that look? This is slightly lower, slightly higher up here. Movement, nice movement, etc. As I said, this tree was really healthy. That's the only reason you can do this work on them. Super healthy, easy to work on. Just wire up all the branches. I wasn't sure where the front was exactly just yet, so I had 3 options, but by the process of elimination, we slowly reduced the foliage, we cleaned up some of the branches we didn't want. Then when I really started to wire and the tree came to life. So don't be in a rush sometimes to pick the front. It'll pick it itself eventually, if that makes sense. So you'll just see the natural front of the tree pretty quickly. So this is a lovely little mini now. Just nice little small pot, unglazed. Love that the gin's there, but it's quite big, but it's not too overpowering now for the tree. Before it was quite overpowering. Now it's kind of sticking out a little bit, which isn't too bad. We've got a couple of little gins here at the back, which we'll clean up and do. This branch became really important, having a nice little drop branch in there and padded it up. Obviously needs a lot more time to fill out, but at least the work's now been done. It's midsummer here in Melbourne, maybe towards the end of summer now. So the junipers continually grow over autumn, and then even do a little bit of growth even in winter, but no problem with this tree recovering. You saw how I trimmed the foliage, very important, and just wire and have the tree come to life. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I'll see you for next time for another video.